All right, everybody. I'm sure you could tell that was well, if you're listening to this, you should, the Blue Mountain State theme song. And we have one of their main characters. His name on the show is Larry, but we're talking to Omari Newton.
Yeah, this was a little bit different. He played a football player, so we're going to count it as a football podcast somewhat.
A football/entertainment podcast.
There you go.
We get
Yeah.
the benefit of both of them.
Yeah, there we go.
And it's always been one of my favorite shows. I started watching it probably 2014, and I never would have thought we'd be talking to one of the guys who starred in it. And we got to hear a lot of cool stuff about the show, details, where they filmed the movie. So hope you enjoy
And a lot
it.
of his other acting stuff,
Yeah,
too.
and we
so.
definitely wanted to hear what he's doing now and some of his new projects, and we got to hear about that towards the end. So it was really interesting, process and a little something different.
Yeah, so give it a listen. Let us know what you think if you like this little bit of an idea. And here we go.
All right, everybody, we're sitting here talking to Omari Newton, and how's it going, Omari?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on, man. So this is a little bit different guest than normal. We're a sports podcast. We do football and MMA and wrestling and stuff like that. But we can kind of relate you to football a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that much of a stretch. Fictional football is football.
Yeah, there we go.
And we saw on your Wikipedia that you had played football in high school, or I think that's what it said, something like that. Is that right?
Yeah. I used to play for the Montreal North Shore Lions, which was kind of like grade 7, 8, 9 age city team.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
it's actually a weird story related to BMS about that. But BMS shot in Montreal, and it shot at my old school. And the uniforms were virtually identical to the uniforms I used to play in when I played football in Montreal. And the part of the story that's most unbelievable is Larry played the same position that I used to play and played in the same number, which was 27.
Oh, wow,
So-
that's crazy.
It was wild, man. When I showed up, when I got the role and I showed up at the costume fitting, I thought I was being punked. I was like, someone, I didn't actually get this role. Someone's messing with me right now because, I'm 38. So back in the day, Steve Atwater was the boss safety. So I chose 27 to represent Steve Atwater. And that's the number that Larry played in.
That is crazy. I would definitely feel like I was getting punked. That sounds like an elaborate prank almost.
Yeah, man. And it's funny. I've told that story before, and you guys are the only people who had that reaction. Most people are like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, that's super crazy.
That's like three ironic things happening in one scenario. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm telling you, if you Google North Shore Lions, you'll see that that very distinct orange and blue color that BMS played in was the same color uniform that my team used to play in for years.
And for people who don't know, Omari was on a show called Blue Mountain State. It was extremely popular here in the United States, super, super popular.
Yeah, I remember it was back in 2010, 2011. It was like the show to watch.
It was, yeah. I mean, we still watch it about every day.
I watch it all the time still. It's I can't get off of it.
But
Thanks, Chris. That's
but
great.
I'm sure we'll bounce back around to that later on. But so how did you get into acting early on? What led you to acting?
Yeah, well, I mean, I started off when I was younger doing improv in my, elementary school, and actually even before that, I remember I knew I was destined to sea-level stardom when I was cast as Joseph in my church play. Probably the first black Joseph that cast at my church.
You kind of look like a Joseph a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it was typecasting. It's very appropriate for the role. So yeah, no, I started off doing that, and I did improv in elementary school, and then I got into emceeing and kind of slam poetry, and was doing more live performance stuff. And at some point, when I was about 25, I was like, okay, this acting thing is cool. I'm doing a lot of theater, but if I ever want to have a family and feed myself, I'm probably gonna have to break into some TV. So I moved to Vancouver, British Columbia, which is where I live now, and started pursuing a TV career.
Well, yeah, I'd say it was a success.
Yeah, I like that move so far. Where were you living before Canada?
I was born in Canada, actually. I was born in Montreal.
Oh, you just moved. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot more film production, Vancouver BC, tons of huge American shows filmed there, Supernatural, Arrow, X-Files, The Flash, a bunch of CW stuff films in Vancouver. So I wanted to get more work in TV and moved out here.
Dang. Yeah, I know Arrow was filmed there. I think I think Arrow's like I said, we do a little bit of wrestling, and I think Cody Rhodes, I think he's an Arrow. Is it Cody? I think there's some wrestler that's an Arrow. I can't remember who it is, and I know
Probably.
yeah, I think they always talk about on some stuff I listen to. He's always going back and forth from Canada to the U.S. and then over to Japan. And he's always going up there for his roles. But yeah, I didn't even think about how many shows were filmed in Canada. That's a lot.
It's nuts, man. There's tons. They call it Hollywood North because there's so much. But the ironic thing, though, when I was in Montreal, I couldn't catch a cold on TV, and then I moved to Vancouver. I sent an audition tape in for Blue Mountain State and got cast as my first regular gig in a show in Montreal, like a year after I moved to Vancouver.
Dang. God dang.
When did the startup for the show kind of start, when they were like taking the audition tapes and all that?
I first auditioned, I think it was in November of 2009. I sent my first audition tape in, and I think I read for Shiloh first, and the role that Sam Jones ended up getting. And then I was back in Montreal visiting my family because it was around, the holidays. And I remember a buddy of mine was getting married and was having a bachelor party in Atlantic City, and I found out that I booked a pilot. So we didn't know the show was going to go right to series. Now, I'll never forget because I'm a lifelong Steelers fan, and we shot the last day of the pilot was during the Super Bowl when the Steelers were playing the Cardinals. So I actually watched that Super Bowl on set on a monitor with no sound.
You said you were a Steelers fan? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I've been a Steelers fan for a long time, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it kind of chipped a little bit. I wanted to hear that
Yeah,
part.
it's like one of those things. You'll probably always remember watching that Super Bowl, like, in that unique circumstance.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And if you remember, that was the crazy one that, it ended with, was it Santonio Holmes catching that crazy touchdown in the corner?
Yeah.
That, like, prayer at the last second?
Yeah, and
I was the only
Harrison pick six, too.
Yeah, exactly. The Harrison pick six. And what's brutal is I was the only Steelers fan on set, so everybody was going for Arizona. And the creators of BMS are from Boston, so they're diehard Pats fans, so I had to listen to that for the past couple of years.
So was Blue Mountain State filmed in Canada?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah. The whole thing filmed at John Abbott College in Montreal.
Dang. So they filmed the whole thing at a college?
Yeah. It was filmed at John Abbott College. Like, so in Montreal, the education system's kind of weird in that, so you go to high school, and in Quebec, in Montreal, you go to high school from grade 7 to grade 12, and then we have this 2-year gap before university where you go to college in this thing called CEGEP. So it was filmed at a college/CEGEP in Montreal called John Abbott College.
What were the students do? Like, I guess it wasn't during football or something?
Yeah, no, we filmed in the summertime. It was a great gig in that basically we would film from like June, July, and August. So we filmed for 3 months in the summertime, and of course, school was out. So the first year nobody really knew; they just knew it was like a football show filming. But by the second and third season, when the show got pretty popular with college kids, we had a lot of people come by and hang out and watch while we were filming.
Dang, that's pretty
cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. How did they keep it under the radar so good?
It's funny, like, I didn't realize how popular the show was in the States until a couple years after we were off the air. Like, I think Netflix played a huge role in the show getting, like, a cult following, because when we were filming, we didn't get crazy numbers. Like, we were on Spike, and, do you remember originally we were on Spike, and we had weird airtime, and we didn't have that many people following the show live, but it just kind of took off on Netflix. To this day, I'll tour to high schools for Black History Month in Canada to just talk to kids about Black History Month, and all the kids are like, "Hey, what's up, Larry?" Like literally last year I was in high school.
That's how I found it too. I found it on Netflix.
It's wild, man. Like the show has been off the air since 2012, and I feel like it's more popular now than it was when we first aired.
Yeah, I remember. Like, it came out, I remember the first season started when I was in, like, 8th grade, and I remember hearing about it and seeing, like, commercials for it, but I could never I think they had it playing late at night, like you said. I think that's what it was. But once I found it on Netflix, I just started abusing it, basically.
Yeah. I know, it was weird. Like, I feel like Spike was pushing, like, I don't know, like, Bar Rescue more than BMS.
So, what was it like kind of working with some of those guys? Like, I know, like, like Thad and all those guys? They had to be fun, like kind of when the cameras weren't rolling. Those guys had to be awesome.
It was great, man. It was truly like, you know, I know it's kind of a cliche and people always say, oh, it's like a family on set. But truly, like, we had as much fun making the show as you guys had watching it. And, you know, we still keep in touch. Whenever I'm in LA, I'll like hang out with those guys like Darren and Alan and the guy who played Harmon and the guy who played Johnny. They're Canadian, so they're in Toronto. And we'll hang out when I am back there as well. And it was great, man. And it was a weird, rare show in that the creators of the show, who are technically our bosses, I mean, not technically, they were literally our bosses, were around our age, and we were all sports fans. So it was just like hanging out with your buddies and getting a good paycheck and spending days in the sun, making each other laugh, talking about football.
That sounds pretty sweet to me. But
it was sweet.
What about because I saw like an interview with Alan, and he was talking about how he didn't play football as like when he was growing up, and they had to kind of help him like learn how to set up and all that. Like, were there some other guys that like hadn't played football like you did, and like had to kind of learn how to sell it or whatever?
Well, here's the funny thing. I played football, but I played running back my first year, and then I played safety and defensive back. And there's a reason for that. I can't catch. I got small hands. The guys used to tease me, so I can't really throw a football. So I played defense. I was like a hitter, and I was fast. Alan, even though he never played football, is one of those freakishly athletic people who, like, he could have played football if he wanted to because he just picks stuff up naturally. And Darren played quarterback in Hawaii in high school. And Rob, the guy who plays Don, he played university ball. I mean, if you saw Rob in person, he's a huge dude. Like, he's like 6'4". I don't know how much he weighs, but just like incredibly large, strong guy. So he played O-line for university in Canada. And the guy who played Harmon, James, he's not really a sports fan, and, you know, he's just a hilarious guy who played the kicker really well.
That works pretty well because those two guys played their position. Like, Darren, was actually, that's what he did on the show. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, man.
So Alan, like, never played football or anything?
No, Alan never played football. I think Alan was he was a singer first, right? Like, he was on American Idol and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that audition. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's just one of those dudes who's just good at everything that he tries, it seems. Like, he's just really focused, driven guy, and he's done really well.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I ask is, I mean, the dude looks like a prototype, like, linebacker. I mean, he just looks like one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's jacked. I mean, and not by accident. You know, he's one of the hardest working dudes that I remember working with. Like, he'd be up, like, running and going to the gym before going to set and, you know, set the bar for everybody.
Did they have
to kept up with him?
Did they have to kind of, like, keep you guys, like, in shape while you're filming to keep the kind of football appearance? Because, you know, there's a lot of scenes, like, I guess, like, in the locker room or something. Did y'all have to kind of keep a pretty strict diet or anything?
No, not really, man. That's the thing about being on a comedy. If you, like, I was, like, pretty fit season one because I was, like, working pretty hard, and I was playing a football player. And then as the seasons went on, you know, I gained some weight, and it didn't really matter. My character played defense and it was a comedy, so I didn't really give a shit.
It kind of sells it too, because it's like all the guys are kind of like partying and messing around anyway. So
yeah, that's why I was in character. That's what it was.
Yeah, we'll call it in
committed.
Character.
And I liked how it was almost like they had like a new, like when Shiloh left for like season one, they had Paige Kennedy come in and play Radon, and then they had like, I know they had somebody come in season 3. It was kind of like they had like a new character every season. I kind of like that part of it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, like you would on a college team, right, where guys transfer, or guys graduate, or you know, you could tell that the guys who wrote the show were fans of sports and fans of college. Like, even like stuff like that NCAA episode where we just took the piss out of the NCAA. Like, it was a fun show to be on in that. Yeah, it was constantly new cast members and stuff changing and just keeping it fresh.
And some of the jokes that they would say, like, I really liked how they were like willing to do it, like, because they didn't like, they weren't afraid to like make fun of the NCAA or like, you know, have them like not doing their school or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's about time someone did. There's so many things you can make fun of with the NCAA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that one episode where they like give it like each player like it's like a $2 drink or something, and they like make them all like refund the money at the end, and like, it's like in a pool or something.
Yeah.
Where did they
it's
film
hilarious,
that?
man.
I think it was like Coach Marty Daniels' house or whatever.
We filmed all around Montreal, like in different areas. Like the field was over. Actually, season 1, the field was in Saint Anne de Bellevue at John Abbott College, and like the goat house and stuff was in Saint Anne de Bellevue. And then for the second and third season, they built an identical set in a studio because they realized that it was like cheaper to just have a set and keep it than it was to shoot on location. So it was just filmed all around Montreal.
So Coach Marty Daniels' house was like on a set. It wasn't like an actually like real house.
I think that was a real house. I don't remember where it was, but I think it was a real house.
That house was
near
sweet.
St. Anne's. Yeah, I think that was pretty nice.
Dang.
And I know that Romansky, he was the guy who played Sammy, and I know he had like he helped produce the show, right?
Yeah, he's the creator of the show, and he was a producer of the show, and as well as playing Sammy. But him and Eric Falconer were the creative minds behind the show.
I'm sure he had his hands full, like with having a casting role and like helping write and all that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure he did, man. I'm sure he did. But he's one of those dudes that he just has like endless energy. Because I remember, we partied a lot while we filmed that show, as you would imagine.
Hard not to.
Nights, yeah. And I remember some nights like we did the bar, and we'd have to be on set the next day, like pretty early. And we'd all be hanging out. We're just like, dude, don't you have to like write the episode? Like, how are you?
like the main characters are already like kind of like going and doing it, but then like you wouldn't think the writer would do it with you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're all set. You're with your buddy, and you're sitting there, and you're like, I'm pretty sure like the words we say tomorrow, like we don't have a script yet, and you're with us. So when's
That's
this gonna
hilarious. Happen? Oh my god!
I mean, I watched every episode. I never would have thought that.
Y'all are like, if you literally just take out the football part, y'all are literally like living that life in real life while you're filming. That's why I think that's why that show was so good.
Well, I mean, obviously we weren't going.
Oh, well, yeah.
Our characters,
just being awesome, guys to hang out with and stuff like that. Though on that part of it, that just sounds so awesome.
They were great guys, man. They are great guys. It's like honestly, really funny dudes. And the irony is, in real life, none of us are really like that. Like, Alan is married with 3 kids. I'm married. Romansky and Falconer are married. Like, we're all like, I mean, granted, that was 10 years ago, so we were younger back then. But and Harmon in particular, like, doesn't really do drugs. He's just like an artist and into like yoga and stuff.
Man, that's
all had a good time.
It's almost like I can't even picture any of that. It's like the roles were so good, and so I like the roles so much I almost can't even picture that. It's so crazy.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to go back and watch them more and like just like hearing everything we've heard. It'll be kind of cool.
It'll be a whole different perspective watching the show now.
Did they allow you to improv a little bit with your lines, or was it kind of like you kind of read what they gave you?
It was mostly scripted. And they were so funny that we didn't really have to add much, but they definitely let us like play around and like if you watch there's a behind the scenes documentary on YouTube, and you'll see that between takes we were all just messing around and trying to make each other laugh and keep it light. Like I feel like when you're filming a comedy, it's important to keep the vibe kind of loose because you don't want to be all like kind of stiff and dry on camera. So
yeah, you definitely got to let it. You definitely got to let it fly a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And like unlike a lot of shows, like it seemed like that was like that early on. Like it wasn't like by season 2 it was like that. I felt like the first or second episode it was already like that.
Yeah, man. It's weird with. I've been lucky, like I've been blessed, knock on wood, and I've been pretty successful being on ensemble shows in different genres. And chemistry is something that you can't really plan on with a cast. Like, you write the script and you try to find the right people for these roles that you had in your mind, but you never know when you get to set what the vibe's going to be. Because all it takes is, if you got one guy who's a diva, or if you got somebody who, it doesn't have a good work ethic, it can screw up the entire vibe of a show because people don't want to go to work. And it just so happened like the stars aligned and everybody got along and everybody was like a pretty good dude. And it was one of those rare things. And I feel like most of the shows that are successful and do multiple seasons, you'll look and you'll find that the cast all get along because it's hard to keep because you're spending 12, 15 hours a day on set together. If you're with people you don't like, it's hard to be funny.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can definitely tell you guys had to mesh really good. I mean, it's very easy to tell.
And we just wanted to ask a little bit about like because the movie is because I remember I was following like the pages of like the BMS Kickstarter and like BMS the movie and all that. So I just kind of want to hear a little bit about the process.
Yeah, well, basically, so the show ended, we think prematurely. It was just kind of picking up steam, and it ended. And then fans for years afterwards kept being like, bring the show back, do a movie. And really, the movie came from a desire from the fans that was expressed for us to do it. And we were like, okay, we'll try to do one. We got to raise some money. And I think at one point, we had one of the most successful crowdsourcing campaigns of all time because our fans just kind of stepped up and supported the film because they wanted it to get made. And then we went out to North Carolina and filmed the movie for 3 weeks. And that's how The Rise of Dadland was made.
You filmed it in North Carolina?
Yeah, that was filmed in North Carolina.
Where at?
Where was it? Was it Wilmington, I think?
Oh, we're from Charlotte.
Yeah, that's like 2 hours from our door. That's crazy.
So.
Oh, really? You guys live in North Carolina?
Yeah, we're in Charlotte. That's where. Yeah, that's what.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so as soon as you said that, we both like just kind of like looked at each other across the microphones and we're like, "Oh my god!"
How did we not know that?
Oh, that's hilarious, man. I think, I remember Huntington Beach is in Carolina, right? North Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember us, hanging out there. Me, Rob, James, and Jimmy Tatro stayed at a beach house together, I think in Huntington Beach, and I believe that we filmed in Wilmington.
That's crazy. I've been to Huntington Beach, probably 4 or 5 times. That's crazy.
Dang, man. That's
hilarious, man.
That's awesome.
See, had you known back then, we could have done this in person.
Yeah, seriously, if we'd have known it back then. My gosh, that's crazy. How did we not know that? That's so wild.
Yeah, I've followed the campaigns and everything. From the day, the first day, I was all over that stuff.
Dang.
I think we probably kept the location low key because we didn't want to get get too crazy
fans would bombard.
Yeah, it
y'all.
wouldn't be like you were talking about earlier with the first season of filming at that school, and it wasn't too crazy. It would be even more so, especially people haven't seen it in a couple of years.
Yeah, it was pretty wild when word got out that we were filming. People definitely were excited to meet the cast. But what's funny is Jimmy Tatro, who at the time was a big YouTube personality, he got as much love as we did, from his YouTube page. And now he's blown up. He's doing American Vandal and he's doing all this stuff. But even back then, he was a big star amongst college kids.
And so, just a question for me: did you prefer the movie to because they were a little bit different? The movie and the TV show. Which one were you kind of more?
No.
You like the TV show?
I much prefer the TV.
Yeah,
the TV show. I much
prefer. we like the TV
and I know
show.
That's the feedback. That's the feedback that we heard from a lot of fans. It's tough to capture the magic that you had on a show from years earlier. And I don't know. I mean, I thought the movie was definitely funny, but the series I think was closer to the original vision of the creators of the show.
Yeah, we probably sit down and watch it. There's an episode of the TV show that comes up probably in our day-to-day conversations at least, and we'll sit down and watch that episode that night or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your favorite episode?
I like the one that I can quote the most lines because I think it's just purely the funniest. Probably be the one where Sammy tries to
be an agent.
He tries to be an agent, and then Coach Daniels and all them throw him against they throw him down and sit him down, start interrogating him, and then I think he says he's I'm not letting some cheap punk ruin my legacy, and he's cheap punks don't wear
$50,000 gold watches, old man.
Yeah.
And they go to get him some water, and he's like, go get him some water. He's like, yeah, and a cupcake too.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
That's probably our favorite. We watch that episode at least about once a week. That episode is so funny.
There's so many. What's your favorite episode?
Probably between the fingering, the one where Larry was trying to figure out who fingered Bab's asshole.
We were going to ask you about that. We were going to ask you about that. We didn't.
Yeah, that was kind of Larry's secret episode. So it's fun for me to be behind all that. And Vision Quest, I just thought was so over the top and so funny that I really like that one too.
It's funny because when I told one of my friends we were talking to you, I was like, this is because he hadn't watched the show a whole lot, and I showed him that episode because I knew you were in it the most. Like I knew you were like kind of like the mystery person, so I had to show him that, and he was like, I can't believe you guys are talking to him. That's crazy.
Yeah, we were trying to find a segue for that show, so that one worked. That episode, so that worked out pretty good.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, it's funny. My wife is horrified by my entire involvement in the show, as you would imagine a woman would be.
Yeah. She has every right to be a little bit, but.
Oh, she does. She like the fact I think that she's like, we hope to have kids one day, and the father, her husband is featured in the video having a threesome with a 95-year-old woman. I think is something that all wives would be concerned about in the long term. But yeah, it was a fun one to film.
I could imagine it had to be.
I love the way Thad will just scream Larry. That's like the underrated part of the show.
Yeah. It was, me and Ellen had good chemistry. I don't know I don't know. It just clicked like the first day we worked together for whatever reason. We just made a funny dynamic.
Dang, man. We kind of winding down here because we don't want to hold up too much of your day. So what are some of the things you kind of been working on since then?
I've been lucky, man. I right after BMS, I booked a regular role on a sci-fi series that shot in Canada called Continuum, where it was like total gear shift. I played a freedom fighter / terrorist from the future named Lucas Ingram, and a kind of cool low-key gig I've had for a couple years that no one cared about at the time, but now people are more stoked is I've been doing the voice of Black Panther in the Marvel animated cartoons since 2012. So I've been doing that a bunch. And I do a bunch of like animated voices for different Netflix series and stuff that you might have seen on TV. So
you do the voice for the Black Panther on the animated series? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm a giant Marvel fan, so.
Oh, nice, man. Me too. Yeah, when I growing up, I was a big Marvel fan. I saw Infinity War in theaters twice. It was amazing.
It's the best. I think it's the best one so far. It's awesome.
I agree. I agree, man.
I couldn't go the day it opened. I went the next day, but my God, it is so good.
Yeah, I saw it once, and then I had to go back again and see it in 3D, and what's crazy, as you know, it's 2.5 hours long, and it goes by like nothing.
Yeah.
It was just as engaging the second time.
And then, see, it kind of sucked because I had to watch. I didn't see Black Panther till after I saw Infinity War. So I just saw Black Panther 2 nights ago for the first time, and Infinity War was like that thing was. Do you get to? I mean, do you work one-on-one with Marvel when you do that? Is that like a Marvel production thing when you do the animated series?
Yeah, it is. It is Marvel Studios. I guess it's their animation division, so it is a Marvel gig. So it really is like a childhood dream, right? To get to voice. I mean, just to get to work on a Marvel project is a childhood dream, and to get to voice the Black Panther, I think, was my favorite superhero growing up. There wasn't a lot of black superheroes for kids to look up to, so
yeah,
I've always loved Black Panther.
Do you like the movie?
It's a great. I love the movie, man. I love the movie. I thought it was great. I think Chadwick Boseman's fantastic, and the dude who played M'Baku killed it. And I just love movies, man. I got into acting largely because I love movies, and I always read comic books growing up. So the combination of the two is just great.
Yeah, it's that Infinity War though. You're right though, man. I kind of want to go see it again, but movie prices are so high. I don't know how they are up in Canada, but down here they are freaking ridiculous. It's like $15 a person for a movie, but
yeah, it's kind of the same up here.
And you're doing a Tarzan and Jane thing right now, right? Is that the? Am I reading that right?
I do the. Yeah, that's right. I do the voice of Chief Waziri, who's the chief of this African tribe where the Tarzan series takes place.
Is that so? Is it a TV show?
Very random, but I do. It's an animated TV show on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll definitely check that out.
Because of my yeah, man. I mean, it's more of a kids show, but the animation's cool and kids seem to like it. And it's funny, because I started off in theater, I have this random skill set where I do a bunch of different like accents and that. Like I do like a West Indian accent. I can do a South London accent, an African accent. So it's great for animation work because they need versatile actors. So that's been keeping me busy lately.
Yeah, it'll get you a lot more work too, because they know you can sound like, 5 or 6 different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, dang, man, you sound like a super busy man. That's crazy. But
knock on wood, man. I've been blessed. I just hope to keep it going.
Absolutely, and well, man, we don't want to hold up like I said. We know you're busy. We got stuff we got going on today, so we don't want to hold up too much anybody's day. But we really appreciate you talking with us, man.
Yeah, this was like this is probably like my favorite interview.
This is the funniest interview. Not even close.
Wow.
This was fun. This was hilarious.
Thanks, man. Well, I really appreciate the support, and I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. And yeah, man, best of luck with the podcast. If you ever want to chat again, just holler at me.
All right, man. Well, thanks for talking with us. Like you said, we hope to have you back on in the future. And
yeah, we're usually the ones that have to say that.
Yeah, usually we're the ones that have to say that.
Well, there you go.
All right, man. Thanks for talking with us, man.
All right, everybody. I thought it was like one of our best ones.
Yeah, it was definitely. It was a little bit different, slightly different, but I was definitely entertained by it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole thing. I thought it was like really went smooth, and he every time we'd ask him something, he'd give us a perfect answer. And
yeah, it was, and that probably has a lot to do with his acting, I would assume.
Yeah, I think
being in front of a camera and
yeah, I thought that too. It was like it was like he wanted to like elaborate on everything, and like that's exactly what we want. So that was perfect.
Well, we hope y'all enjoyed it. Like we said, it was a little bit different, and I mean we're not closed off to the idea of doing this again. So we definitely know what you think about it, since it is a little different from what we do. But
we definitely want him on again for sure.
Yeah, we definitely want to have him on again, especially after I found out he does Black Panther's voice on the Marvel comics. I like that part. My favorite part.
It's just so cool. Like I've watched that Blue Mountain State so much. Like I never thought I would be able to talk to one of the guys.
Yeah, we just sit down and talk to the actor on
it. I never would have thought that. Like
that's crazy.
I remember I started watching that summer of 2014, and if you would have told me I'd be talking to the main character on there, I would be like, yeah, right. I would laugh.
Well,
that's like all these guys we've talked to, though. Really. So.
Yeah, we get that feeling every time. It is a great feeling.
That's awesome.
But thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for hanging out and listening to this.
We're gonna do some more WWE stuff, and
yeah, we're trying
to
to
do football and all.
We're trying
that.
to get some stuff lined up. We're just trying to figure out what to do. There's a lot of open ideas, a lot of stuff going on in the NFL, a lot of big draft stuff. So we're trying to get a draft analysis set up and get that done. So let us know what you think about this one, though. Leave a rating and a comment and a like and a retweet and a share on Facebook and a like on Instagram and
we'd love to have more Blue Mountain State people on there if any of them are listening, and we'll have them on anytime ever.
If somehow you're listening to this and you were on the Blue Mountain State cast, please inbox us, please. We would love it. Your messages aren't open, but ours are wide open.
We keep ours open every day.
So thanks for listening, guys. We hope y'all enjoyed this. Like I said, be sure to check it out and check it out on almost every platform. We'll see you next time.